Hi YouTube, long time no see. Steve here with a video. It's been probably almost 2 years, maybe almost 2 years. I can't remember. The last video I posted was sort of a unboxing of the Criterion Blu-ray of Cat People, and sort of nothing after that. A lot's going on. A lot of work drama. And what else? Just family stuff. I had one of my sons just graduated from university last year, and now he's in med school in South Carolina. And my youngest is about to graduate high school, and he's moving out to where? I should know this. James Madison University out in Harrisburg, Virginia. So anyway, a lot's been going on. Have a podcast that I sort of abandoned about 7, 8 months ago. I really want to get that back on, but it's just a lot going on. But I've been enjoying watching a lot of YouTuber videos in the film community or whatever it's called. Specifically, Mike over at Gray 1951. He's kind of the one that's kind of got me back into wanting to get back into making videos. And the weekly chats, I dig it. I dig it. I need to start following more YouTubers that are participating in this. If you know of any, let me know. But the weekly chat, I like the idea. I think it's fun. I don't have a lot of people I can talk to about films and collections of films and things like that. My wife is certainly sick of hearing me talk about it. So, anyway, this week I believe the weekly chat item is sort of emotion, a crying, tearful watching of films, and I think I can relate to that. Certainly, I think art in general can really use your words. It can really stir up a lot of emotions in someone. This is going to sound really pretentious, and I'm sorry, I don't mean for it to sound pretentious, but classical music really gets me sometimes. Just the beauty of it, or just the emotion. A lot of work by like Johann Sebastian Bach, one of my favorite composers, can really lead you to tears. I mean, not like fits of crying and sobbing, but tearful, emotional experience where you really just connect. You really just become one with that music. So, and I think film lends itself to some emotions. Um, I'm trying to think of the first film. There are a few. I'm not a person who cries easily, but when I do, I do. Um, I would say that Field of Dreams. If you've never seen Field of Dreams, you should see Field of Dreams. It's really a great movie. Kevin Costner is about building a baseball field diamond in this giant sort of plot of land he owns where he grows corn. A voice kind of tells him to plant to build the baseball diamond, and the ending of that movie is so emotional. Um, I won't give it away in case you haven't seen it. You should see it though. It's really great. But the ending of that movie every time, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I have a hard time watching it. It really is emotional when he. Well, I'll go ahead and spoil it. Spoilers if you've never seen Field of Dreams. When his father kind of comes up through the corn into the baseball field, and he has a catch, plays catch with his father, something he had never done before, or something he didn't have a great relationship with his father. And like as they're doing this, the camera sort of pans up, and you see like this line of cars coming into this small cornfield to see what's there, and It's just very emotional. Yeah, definitely. What else? A newer film, and it's a film that's very divisive amongst certainly film goers, but a lot of like comic book people. Is Batman versus Superman, which was released back in 2016, and I'm one of those few people that really, really, really liked that movie. It's the film that I've wanted to see all my life: Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, all in the same scene, all in the same shot. You know, fighting Doomsday. It was a great film. It had a lot of intelligence. It had a very dense plot. I mean, a lot of the Marvel films, they really can be sort of very two-dimensional. You know, entertaining for sure. I mean, excuse me, just getting over a cold. I love the Captain America movies, the first two anyway. The Thor movies I liked. Certainly the new Spider-Man movie is great, but Marvel films, at least in my opinion, can be very surface oriented. Not a whole lot brewing underneath. There are some exceptions. The X-Men films were good. Logan was great, but they were made by a different film company, so I'm not sure if I count them at all. But Batman versus Superman, there's a scene, and this scene was mocked by so many people, and I don't get that. Spoilers, I guess, if you've not seen it, but I don't think it's giving too much away. There's a scene where Batman is fighting Superman. That's the whole title of the film, and Batman really has Superman down. He's got this spear of it's got a kryptonite tipped, and he's really getting him down. And Superman starts saying Martha, Martha, and that really gets to Batman. And describing it's kind of comical, but anyway, it's you know it's Bruce Wayne, Batman. Of course, you know his mother and father were killed in the crime alley. Superman's mother, his name is Martha. Well, Earth Mother, you know that. And he's like, "Why did you say Martha?" And he starts beating him and pummeling him. "Why did you say Martha?" And that really, really choked me up. I mean, and I looked over at my son, and he was choked up too. He got it. And people ridicule that scene, and I don't get that at all. That was like, it really tapped into something that's central to definitely the Batman mythology. Superman, maybe not so much, but to see the Batman, to see this guy, you know, billionaire, trillionaire probably, and you know, and he's all decked out in this mech, not really a mech suit, but just this armored suit to fight Superman, and you see him, and he's having an emotional meltdown. I tell you, that really got me. There were a few scenes in that film that got me, but that scene alone, I was a little weepy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been a big fan of bats and soups since I was a little boy, and to see that was it was like seeing my whole life ahead. You know, like my whole comic book life. It's hard to describe, but if you get it, then let me know, because maybe I'm the only one, or my son and I are the only ones. But that was hard to watch. So another film, and I did write this down, and I'm going to butcher the title of it, and I do apologize. But really, is a emotionally devastating film, especially the ending. Kind of hard to get through. I'm not a huge fan of Robert Bresson. Only seen maybe 2 or 3 of his films, but the title is Alhazard Balthazar. Let me see if you can. Well, that's backwards. Why is that backwards? I don't know. Maybe it will be backwards when you see this. It's basically about, and mind you, it's been a few years since I've seen it, the life of a donkey, and how, and the different owners that the donkey has, and different parts of his life. And the ending, he's sort of presented almost as a Christ-like figure. and I didn't immediately understand it, but I rewatched it, and I was reduced to tears. Such a beautiful scene, such a beautiful film. Again, hard to get through. Not a fan, and once I said, of Robert Bresson. Not really a guy who's seen a lot of his films, but that film was, excuse me, a little devastating for me. So, what else? I'm gonna have to edit this out. Don't forget that. Here's a tearjerker, and one that I don't mind saying is probably gets me, of all the films that I've seen that will induce me to have an emotional experience, this is the one that gets me the most. And this is also tied in, but tenuously, to Superman. It's a film called, what is it called? Somewhere in Time. Christopher Reeve. It has Jane Seymour, Christopher Plummer. Those are the big three that I can recall. Written by and based on the novel Richard Matheson. It was based on his novel Bid Time Return. And I'd read the book, I think, in college. I'm a Matheson guy. Love his work. And I thought that the book was really, really well written. But seeing the film, and mind you, when I first saw this, Christopher Reeve, this was probably had to have been 2004, Christopher Reeve had just died. And I was over at my buddy's house for the weekend, and we had both had a few. But it came on like TCM, or maybe it was one of the other movie channels, and we both watched it. And at the end of it, we both kind of turned away from each other, and he got up to go to the bathroom. I'm like, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And that was hard to watch. Such a beautiful movie. You might say it's kind of Hollywood fluff. It is. I understand that, but it's Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve is my Superman. Always will be. I love all of those Superman movies. I even liked Superman 4. Don't tell anybody. Everybody loves to hate on Superman 4, but I like it. And I saw it recently in the last year, and I still think it holds up. Maybe not as a great film, but in my memory it's a great film, and it resonates well for me still. But Christopher Reeve, seeing him in that film, it's basically about a guy who's a sort of a writer. He's a blocks writer. He's a playwright, and he goes to this hotel, grand, beautiful hotel that had some age to it, and he sees a photo in the Hall of History, very old photograph of a renowned stage actress from the 19 teens, I believe it was the 19 teens. And he just has an emotional response, and he becomes infatuated with this woman, and he learns about who she was. And she and her theater company had performed a play there at the hotel in the teens. And when he finds out about her, and then I think the book kind of conveys this a little bit better, where he feels almost a historical connection, like he feels a sense of deja vu, perhaps. And then he remembers that in college he had a physics professor, I think it was a physics professor, who had spouted a theory of time travel, how he would dress in the time that he was looking to sort of relive and clear all of his possessions away, so he would just concentrate and train his mind to believe that he was living in that time. And that's what he does, and he ends up going back into that hotel and meeting Jane Seymour, who played the actress. And oh my gosh, I'm not going to give that one away, because maybe not everybody's seen that, or maybe they have, I don't know. But the whole movie is just so good, but the end, oh Jesus Lord, the end is just, again, Hollywood fluff, yes, but damn it, that one hurt. That one hurt me quite a bit. Mike had mentioned The Notebook. You know, I'd never seen that prior to my wife was a fan, and we ended up, I think I got her a copy of it on Blu-ray. And we watched it one night, and, you know, I thought it was an entertaining film. I like Ryan Gosling, but towards the end with Jennifer Garner, not Jennifer Garner, Jesus Lord, James Garner and Gina Rowlands. That end scene, or towards the end, you know what I'm talking about. How could you not shed a few tears during that scene? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm coming up a little short on other films to talk about. Those definitely are ones though that got me, and I've shed tears in films for maybe different reasons. And Mike said this really well. Sometimes the music in the film can really drive you to a place that maybe you weren't prepared to go to. That's definitely been the case for me. Absolutely. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. I remember one recently, and the film itself is dubious, to say the least. Star Trek Beyond. Now, why would I have an emotional response to Star Trek Beyond? I did, because there's a great tribute to Leonard Nimoy and the pretty much the original cast of the original Star Trek at the very end of that film. And if you've seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. I wasn't expecting that to happen, and it was just a brief aside thing, but it got me. You know, Leonard Nimoy hadn't been dead that long when the film came out. You know, I'm a huge original TOS, the original series Star Trek fanatic. I don't really have a whole lot of use for Deep Space Nine or Voyager or The Next Generation. The Next Generation was a pretty good show. I liked Captain Picard anyway. I liked Commander Riker. Didn't have any use for Data though. Absolutely none at all. But anyway, that was a great scene that was unexpected, but I appreciate it. It was a nice little nod and service to the fans of the original show and films. I'm sure I'm forgetting other ones, but I think those are ones that definitely were memorable to me. Somewhere in Time, yeah, I would recommend that because, well, it's got Christopher Reeve. It's got a beautiful young Jane Seymour. Christopher Plummer, always worth watching. But I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. I would encourage everyone to, if you're watching this, to give me your thoughts. Tell me some films that made you feel emotional. Maybe you cried a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong if you're, you know, a female, male. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, my wife has seen me with a few tears down my cheek a few times after watching films. She has. And I'm okay with that. Probably when I was younger, I wouldn't have been, but no, I'm okay. It's okay. So, until next time, thank you for watching, and see you soon.